So welcome back guys, today let's see how this cloud effect can be done in Unity. It's a pretty cool special effect and it's fairly simple with just a couple of tricks, so let's have a look on how we can do it. I made it available on my Patrons page, by the way, links below, where you can get access to a huge library of visual effects that you can use in your games. Let's also have a look at great ways to increase your app revenue with today's sponsor, Easy Monetization. Because crafting ads your users enjoy, it's not easy, but I've found a fantastic growing Discord community where developers discuss the best ways to integrate rewarded ads without annoying users. If you are interested in learning more and exchanging ideas with fellow developers, you can join them on Discord, links below. So on my scene I have this Warrock. Every time I press spacebar he attacks. He's from Mixamo, by the way. And we want to start by creating an empty game object. We right click, rename it to VFX_cloud attack, reset transform and place it more or less in front of your character, so you don't mess up the proportions. Then we want to go ahead and with right click create a visual effect graph. You obviously can use particle system. I have also this video that helps you convert VFX graph to particle system, by the way. With the VFX graph created, we want to pirate this to the empty and reset transform. Press edit to open VFX graph. The first thing we want to do is make sure that we spawn only one particle up here with a single burst. It is not going to move and the lifetime is going to be constant. Turn off random around 0.4. All of this because we want to spawn a mesh, which means we need to remove this and replace it with an output particle mesh, which is a capsule for now, but we can already add the set size to control its size, set to 1, and then a set scale in case we need to change the proportions of our mesh. Finally, a set color overlay will be very useful to fade in and fade out. And then we essentially need a mesh like this one. It's very straightforward. I can show you how to create one with Blender. Once it is open, you can select everything with A and delete. And with Shift A I'm going to add a cylinder, and on this panel down here we can control the vertex, but very importantly we want to say the cap fill type is nothing. So we are left only with this ring. In object we can say shade smooth, and now we need to enter in edit mode with tab, and then we Ctrl R, add an edge loop, press enter and then escape so it stays in the center, and with S you want to scale this more or less around here. And finally select the top and the bottom edges, so we can scale them only on the Z. You can scale with S and then press Z, and then with S again scale it up a little bit, and you will end up with this ring, right? I'm gonna press 7 on the numpad to go to the orthographic view, and then Z to see through, so we can basically with B select all of these vertices and press delete vertex. I'm removing more than half, so we get this nice shape as you can see. Now very importantly we need to open a new window down here, press and drag, and in the UV editor turn on these arrows, and if we select this vertex on the center, on the right window now it highlights the center edge loop. Great. Depending on how you want to map your texture, we want to rotate this 90 degrees with R, and then in UV we want to turn on constraint to image bounds, so it stays within the box. And lastly all we gotta do is scale this on the Y axis. In case it isn't centered you can shear it a little bit and push these edges to cover the whole area. And that's it. Now before we export we want to rename this mesh to cloud/tutorial in my case, and then with Ctrl A we want to apply rotation and scale. We are good to go. File, export, FBX, navigate to your project folder, turn on selected objects, and on apply scalings, let's select FBX all. And that's it. Export, go back to your Unity project, and now we can add it to our output particle mesh. This is what we get at this point. Clearly we need to change the main texture. The easiest way to solve that is to select the default particle that comes with Unity. This one. Here we go, much better. you can rotate directly the parent, in my case minus 90 degrees in the y-axis. Here we go. Now let's take care of the motion. We want this to kind of rotate, right? So on update particle, let's search for add angle, and if we say something like 0.5 on the z-axis, it rotates in the opposite direction, but it rotates, which means we need a negative value, as you can see. But we want this to start up here. So on the initialized particle, with a set angle, we can rotate it 80 on the z. Exactly like this. But yeah, it's very slow, not that impactful. The way we solve it is on the add angle. Instead of a fixed value, we want to use a curve. It's very simple. We can search for sample curve. First parameter is the curve, second one is the time. In this case, we can use the age over lifetime of the particle itself, which is 0.4, because we have set it on the lifetime. And if we open this, we want to go ahead and select this curve, press A to see the whole thing, and push the last key to around 0.4. And the cool thing is that you can amplify this by multiplying, for example, with minus 10. So basically, it will be really fast in the beginning and then it will slow down. Exactly like this. I believe we could begin earlier the rotation, so on the set angle, 120 should do just fine. Here we go, looking good. Now let's make sure we fade this out earlier. We don't want to see it stop it at the end, not that much. So here I'm gonna push the last key up there, which represents the transparency, a little bit back. Yeah, more or less like this. And then for the first key we can choose the color. In this case I'm gonna go with red and increase the intensity. And here we go. Now that looks better. It's bright, it's beautiful. Remember, I have a global volume with bloom, that's why it's glowing, just in case. You can create one with right click, volume, global volume. Still on the gradient, I'm gonna say the last key is totally black and push it a little bit more or less around here. Alright, could be better, but that's alright. I'm gonna call this one the bright slash, select everything and we right click, create a group. Call it bright slash as well, because we want to duplicate this group with Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V for the dark slash, which is going to be on the back of the bright slash. Let me just rename this. It's very important that now we select our VFX graph on the folder and say that the dark slash is rendered before the bright slash. Cool. Two changes we want to do: make it larger on the Z3 more or less. Second change on the color. First key, it's not going to be bright, intensity 0, and we are going to push the value to almost black. We want a very dark red, or any other color that you wish, obviously, so you can have this contrast. You can make sure it fades out later, something like this. Alright, so we can see those dark values at the end. Looking good. If you want to amplify those dark values, you can go back to Blender, basically enter in edit mode and push this a little bit back, and then export again with a different name and add that new mesh to the dark slash, and we will have a darker trail essentially, right? It's those little details that makes all the difference. But since it is a claw, let's take care of that aspect, and the quickest and easiest way is to duplicate this VFX graph, offset it on the Z, small value like 0.3, and do it again. And here we go, we get this very cool claw slash. I noticed that the bright slash could be thinner, so on VFX graph, on the Z of the scale, I'm gonna set it to 0.5. Now it's thinner, it's slicker, it's nicer. Cool. There's another thing we can add to these, which is some orbital particles. We can see how to achieve them by simply searching for simple particle system. We can replace this with a single burst that's going to have a random number between 3 and 5. Let's just take care of the aspect. Down here we can change the main texture to the default particle. Add a set size before the set size over life. Say it's random between something like 0.01 and 0.1. Nothing will change because set size over life needs to be in multiply mode. And here we go. Probably the particles are really tiny and we can't see them, mostly because this graph only goes to around 0.5, but we want to switch it with this curve. Yeah, they are still very small, but since we are going to increase the brightness, they will be a little bit more visible. We don't need set color of a life. We can replace the set color of a life with a set color. It's already shrinking, we don't need to fade it out. I'm gonna choose more or less the same color, a red, increase the brightness, and here we go. Now we just need to make sure they kinda follow the claw, the slash. So up here, the set velocity is not necessary, we can remove it. And since the claw is kinda circular, we can search for set position circle. They already are spawning in a circle. We don't need to spawn on the full circle. That's why we have this arc down here. We can decrease it to around 1.92. As you can see, they are still a little bit far away from the slash itself, so let's increase the radius around 1.5, something like that. Looking good. And for the motion now, we can search for a set velocity from direction and speed in a spherical shape. And here we go, it's already doing something, right? You can even use a random number for the speed, something like 3 and 7. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Yep, perhaps between 0 and 3 will do just fine. You can tweak those values, of course. But essentially the lifetime could be much shorter, like 0.4 and 1. And another cool trick we can do is add gravity to these on the update particle, so they don't keep on flying forever. We can use this force and say the y is a random number between -1 and -8. It will look a bit more interesting, as you can see. If you select the other VFX graphs to see the whole claw, this is what we get. I then added a few more elements that can take much more time, like this trail. It's basically this mesh with the text scrolling backwards, and a few more tweaks. And on this one I added this bright flash, this texture. It kinda adds a really nice touch. And then I synchronize it with the bear attack, its position, its rotation, and triggered an event on the animation to spawn the claw attack. But that's essentially it. I made all of this available on my Patreon's page, where you can get many other projects as well for your game or to study up close. It's a huge library of visual effects, links below. I want to say thank you to each patron that supported me last month, and as usual a quick shout out to the top tier patrons, which are Alberto Sageras, Alan Alstad, David Molina, Diego Marques, Lua Ama, Frosty40, God Ava, Goobles, Grub Lab, Ivan Jacobi, Ginuga4, Casey Miller, Song Kyo, Leandro Di Risi, Leon Holt, Mark Annan, Matt Moran, Michael Maganinho, Mike Bell, Oitsk, Awesome, Safale, Phil Kozel, Pierre-Mario Roux, Pradip Sen, Radioactive Bullfrog, Revenant Games, Sanofer, Sean Aguilar, The Static Samurai, Travis Connolly, Verisota, Whatever Marta, Will Poilian, Vlad, and Min J. Kim. Thank you all very much for your support. I hope you have enjoyed this video. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.